You're listening to the Secure Dad Podcast. Discover ways to secure your home, protect your family, and embrace your role as a protector parent. Welcome, friend. My name is Andy Murphy, and I'm the creator of The Secure Dad. This podcast serves to help families become proactive in their safety. The information I share on this podcast is for general information purposes only. My goal is to empower you to make safer decisions for yourself and your family. Today on the show, I'm going to talk about the same thing that everybody else is: gas. But I'm going to talk about this beyond prices, and we're going to talk about what this means as a crisis to our society and to us as protector parents. Plus, there's a bonus for this episode all about how to protect your gas tank, so make sure you check that out. All of that ahead on the Secure Dad Podcast. So this episode really is all about cars, because before we really get started, I wanted to talk to you about my free checklist, What to Do After a Wreck. This list will take you through how to talk to others after you've been involved in the collision, the type of pictures that you need to take, and I'm even going to give you some ideas about when it's actually okay to leave the scene. I personally know this checklist works because I think, as you know by now, I've actually used it. So I go to great lengths to make sure that my guys work. No, that's just how life worked out. I'm just kidding. It's just a great irony for me, though, with Murphy's Law. So get your copy of What to Do After a Wreck for free at the link in today's show notes. Print it out, put it in your cars, and I hope you never have to use it. Also, next month, I'm going to be launching a brand new product from the Secure Dad. This is something that people have been asking for, and I'm excited to finally get that out to everyone. So stay tuned to the podcast, and also if you are on my email list, which is called Field Notes, I will be sending out more details about it as we get closer to the launch date. If you want to be a part of Field Notes, which is what I call my email newsletter, you can sign up for it today at the link in today's show notes. In the United States, we've been on quite a trip for the last few months. We're living in a Hank Williams Jr. song, whether we like it or not. Interest is up and the stock market's down, and you're only getting mugged if you go downtown. And to add fuel to that fire, for the first time ever, the national average for gas is more than $5 a gallon. So far, the country has been able to maintain a fuel supply, and honestly, I'm a little surprised by that. Yes, the supply is lower than normal and the cost is higher, but there's fuel at the pump. And generally, we've still maintained a high demand for gas. So let's go back to May of 2021, where there was a ransomware attack on a fuel supplier that caused a short-term fuel shortage on the East Coast. This is when we saw pictures of people trying to pump gas into trash bags. Remember that shining moment of American history? Yeah. So gas prices and shortages cause crises. They can be local or they can be widespread. Let's take a look at how this affects us as protector parents. What a gas crisis actually means for Americans is restricted or no mobility. And that's a big problem for us. Over the last 80 years, we've become a country of commuters. While cities do boast large numbers of pedestrians, most of us drive to work every day. It's a family tradition to jump in the car, drop off the kids, and then drive out further to the office every morning. The average national commute is 27.5 minutes. We're all spread out thanks to infrastructure, the automotive industry, and telecommunications. That also means that our jobs, grocery stores, and medical facilities are most likely out of walking distance. And if we can't power our cars, we're stuck where we are, with no way to gain income or to buy what we need. All of a sudden, things get very isolated in the land of opportunity. So mobility drives our economy, and gas is that essential lifeblood. Without it, our economy weakens, along with a whole host of other economic and societal problems. So to say that there's tension at the gas pump right now really is an understatement. In the past, I've shared with you how to be safe at a gas station. I encourage you to listen to episode number 146 of this podcast. It's entitled Surviving the Gas Station. On this episode, Greg Williams and Brian Marin of Arcadia Cognerati and I talk about how to survive the gas station. It's a really good discussion, and I guarantee you that you're going to benefit from it. So I'll let you listen to that show to learn the basics, but now we kind of have to talk about some new threats. Because everybody is so fed up with gas prices and how they affect our daily lives and what it really truly means to us about being able to provide, we now have to include in our threat model somebody Breaking Bad or getting whiskey bent and hellbound and carrying out an act of violence at a gas station. It's not just car thieves and scammers anymore. So when we're at the gas station, we really need to be more aware than ever. So what I want to encourage you to do is put your phone away, lock the car doors that are not in use, and keep an eye out for somebody who's about to reach that boiling point. If your car is secure and your head is up, you're going to look like a hard target, and that's always a good thing. I suggest trying to get gas at off times with no rush hour traffic, and not even on your lunch break either. Maybe fill up on the way to church or mid-afternoon on Sunday if you can help it. If you can't help it, I understand. I have a fun story from a few episodes ago about having to stop for gas at a sketchy gas station and how that went down. So yeah, some of you might remember that. But if you can choose where and when you get gas, the better off you're going to be. Now recently, there's been a very popular video of a man in a yellow shirt being ambushed by 3 guys at a gas pump. Let me tell you, detecting and avoiding an ambush is hard. When it's done by 3 people who have a plan, it is nearly impossible. This guy was able to get away, but unfortunately thieves ended up with what appeared to be his firearm and his car. Before the attack, this guy seemed to be demonstrating very low awareness as he pumped gas. Now, I'm not going to critique this guy's fight for his safety because that's not what I do. But I'll remind everybody that if you're not chosen as a target, then you've won the fight before it starts. When I pump gas, I walk around the car, I look at the other drivers, I'll even make eye contact with them, wave, say hello, how you doing, that sort of thing. And I bet to everybody else, I look like the weirdo. And that's fine, because who wants to attack the weirdo? Now let's turn our conversation to the weatherman. A while ago now, I shared a clip from CNBC of 2 people discussing the future of gas prices, and they made a very valuable point. If we have to shut down an oil rig in the Atlantic because of a hurricane, it's going to cause big problems to our lives. Our fragile gas supply is almost maxed out, and if we shut off production of that inventory, prices are going to skyrocket, panic buying will spike, and supply is going to dry up. Not to mention mass shortages in states where evacuations might be mandatory. And gas will get used up from other states that will send fuel to those evacuation areas. So a single hurricane could cause a ton of damage even in states that won't see a drop of rain. So keep your family mobile in the event of a natural disaster. You need to have at least a half a tank of gas at all times. Now, if you're a follower of Patrick McNamara, then he will tell you that you should have 3/4 of a tank at all times. I don't think that's a bad idea. I really don't. But with tensions and prices being what they are, I feel like if you have a half a tank, you're doing really well. Do what you can do not to be a panic buyer and keep that gas light from coming on. Also, plan your day as much as you can so you can take care of all of your driving errands at one time. That way you're not up and down the road wasting gas when you can keep more gas in your tank longer. Now, I'm generally a person who does not like to store gas at their home. It's always made me nervous. Some of you may laugh, but it's always made me nervous. While having a few extra gallons on hand for cars and lawn equipment is nice, I've been concerned about fumes and flammability. I'm not an expert at storing gas, but I am looking into it for my family. I'll share with you what I know so far, but please understand, I'm not a seasoned pro at this. First thing that I have understood in doing my research is do not cheap out on a gas can. A good can will last. Do not store gas in a container that is not meant for gasoline. That means no milk jugs, buckets, or wiper fluid bottles. Store it away from heat and at room temperature. Now this one's going to be a hard one for us unless you have a cool detached garage or shed or something like that. We now have this weird mix of what location is too hot versus where it becomes hazardous in the event of a house fire. There are also many local laws that might prohibit you from storing flammable liquids, so you need to be aware of those too. If you do choose to store gas at home, don't talk about it on social media because your garage is a lot easier to steal from than a gas station. A gas shortage crisis might cause unwanted attention from your neighbors and thieves. So weigh out all of these things before you store gas at your home, including doing your own research. I feel like we're running long in this episode, so I'm going to do a quick bonus episode that will tell you how to secure your car's gas tank, because thieves are using a new, I'll call it innovative way to steal gas out of your car. So look for that bonus episode after this show in your podcast player. Well, that's everything that I have for the main episode of the Secure Dad podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Make sure to listen to the bonus episode for some quick tips on how to protect your car's gas tank from thieves. Don't forget to grab your free checklist, What to Do After a Wreck. There's a link to that in today's show notes. I'm Andy Murphy, and until next time, take care, and please be aware at the pump. Thanks for following me to this quick bonus episode of the Secure Dad podcast. So we just talked about how to survive a gas crisis and how that affects us as protector parents. And I really can't call this topic covered unless we spend time talking about protecting your car's gas tank. Also, I hope you enjoyed all the Hank Williams Jr. references sprinkled throughout the last show. So first up, any cars that are parked in driveways or parking lots are now targets for gas thieves. The safest way to steal gas is to siphon it from the tank. It doesn't make a lot of noise and it's safer for the thief. This process works by drawing gas from the full tank into a container after they bypass the fuel door. Then they just take the container and they run off and you are left with no gas. As bad as this is, there's minimal damage done to your car. So to combat this, you can buy a locking gas cap to go behind your fuel door. They don't cost very much, just make sure you get the right one that fits your car's make and model. I've done it in the past. It is a pain, but it's a great deterrent. And just because you have to throw a lever to open up your car's fuel door, that doesn't mean it's locked up like Fort Knox. Those things can be bypassed. I've also seen pictures on social media of people putting Ring doorbell cameras above the fuel door on their car just to see if they could catch somebody siphoning their gas. While it is funny, I don't think it's going to work. To make things worse for us, gas thieves can also drill a hole in our gas tank and drain it from below. There's been a big uptake in this type of theft in 2022. The criminal will go under the car with a gas pan, drill a hole in the tank, let it empty out into the gas pan, and then make off with your fuel in about a minute and a half. But with the fumes and the chances for fire, this is a much more dangerous method than just siphoning it out of the tank. And also, it's going to cost you anywhere between $500 and $1,500 to fix your tank. That's after you get your car towed to the shop. So make sure that you have full insurance coverage on your car, because these sort of things should be covered. Now, the best way to counter this particular type of theft is to park your car in a garage if you have one. If you have a garage that is full of junk, clean it out. Park your cars inside the way God intended. There, I had to say it again. Now, for your job, when you go to work, if you have to park in a massive parking lot, make sure to put your car close to the building in high traffic areas. The more traffic by your car, the better off you're going to be. Maybe even you and your coworkers need to come up with some sort of schedule so that at break time somebody goes and walks the parking lot to make sure that nobody's stealing gas from everybody's car. And so if you drive an SUV or a large truck, I hate to say your gas problems are really not getting any easier, because as much as it costs you to fill up your car, the more gas your car holds, and thieves know that. The larger the tank, the more a thief can get from your vehicle. There's actually a tier of the Chevy Suburban that has a 28-gallon gas tank, and I would absolutely hate to have to pay to put gas in that and then to lose that gas as well. Plus, when we're talking about SUVs and trucks, the ground clearance is higher, which means that thieves can easily get under your car and hide and work to get to that gas tank a whole lot easier. So let's combine our learning here. You'll remember a couple episodes ago, I talked to you about the follow home crime. For a quick review, a team of thieves will watch you make a purchase, then they will follow you home and rob you as you get out of your car. The same thing can work for gas. If you drive a large truck or SUV, a team of thieves can see you fill up that huge gas tank. They know what you've got. They can even put a dollar amount on what's in that tank. In this scenario, the thieves will follow you from the gas station to your next location. There, they're going to hit your gas tank after you get out of the car and you're gone. So watch your rearview mirror to make sure that you're not being followed. If a thief knows your 22-gallon tank is full, then they're going to risk a lot to get every single drop of that gas. So let's be safe out there and make sure to protect your car and its most valuable asset right now, the gas tank.